Sun Hunkai Scallywag has taken the lead in leg 4 and they are showing no signs of giving it up. They are looking like they're going to hold this all the way to the finish line in Hong Kong. And what an incredible performance from this boat. Earlier on in the race, they were really struggling, in fact, at times, at the back of the pack. And then just the right moment to pounce, and after sailing their way through the entire fleet, they are now leading the group as we close on to the final third of this race from Melbourne to Hong Kong. We're going to be hearing from skipper David Witt in just a few moments, plus also race winner of the last edition, Ian Walker, weighs in on his thoughts about everything with the form guide, what we're seeing so far out on the race course, plus that man overboard from Sun Hunkai earlier on in the leg. Also, crucially, our competition winner. We're going to be announcing who won the Vestas 11th Hour Racing Musto gear. We're going to be doing that at the end of the show. But before we get into all that, let's take a look at where the fleet are right now on leg 4. For now, the fleet are starting to stretch out, and that is very good news if you are fans of Sun Hunkai Scallywag. They are sitting in the lead with Vestas 11th Hour Racing in second place. Dongfeng Race Team, is it third? Is it fourth? Could it be second place? Well, Team Axonobel are going to have something to say about that. They are currently in fourth. At the back, we've got Mafre, Turn the Tide on Plastic, and Team Brunel all struggling, and the whole fleet are running out of miles as we get into Hong Kong. Well, the view for Sun Hunkai Scallywag must be looking rather good right now as they lead the fleet, and that was the question that I put to skipper David Witt just a few moments ago.
It's a new experience for us, but it's a good one. Well, we've only got 1,500 to go, mate, so we're looking okay. For us, we're in a pretty strong position. I think we're going to get further ahead at the moment. The weather pattern suits us and the others are going to fall out of it. So I expect us in the next 3 skeds to really extend our lead. The problem we've got at the moment is we've got 4 to 5 metre sea head on, sailing at 130 true, doing 20 knots, leaping off waves. So we're just going to try and not break the boat. For the crew, it's, I think our young bowman, Ben Piggott's got anxiety. He's getting that stressed about the skets. He's living and dying by them. And for us, for Grant Warrington and myself, we basically decided to throw the grid files out the window about a week ago, and because we think they're rubbish in this part of the world, and we had to justify our decision, and it looks like we got it right.
I mean, you showed everybody else what no one else could see. Looking forward to that final bit into Hong Kong, have you got more tricks up your sleeve with local knowledge?
We've got a couple. I've got a couple. I've done a lot of time there, but I don't think we're going to need them, Niles. I think we're going to, providing we keep the boat in one piece, I think we're going to have a nice lead sailing into Hong Kong, and we're really looking forward to it. Our sponsors and our supporters and the country is all really in a frenzy back there at the moment, from what I'm reading in a few emails. So hopefully we can keep it together for the next 3 days. And mate, you want to get on a plane and come and have a drink with us? It's going to be some sort of party. First ever Hong Kong team to win a leg of the Volvo Ocean race.
And in incredible style as well, because I hope you can forgive the people that didn't necessarily rule you out of being able to close back into the fleet. There were times in this leg where it looked like it was pretty much won and lost, and you guys just came all the way through.
Yeah, but I mean, we've had a pretty up and down leg, you know. We made a bit of a move early on and got right up with the leaders, and then we had a bit of an issue with the reef and nearly had a Vestas moment, and then we got away from that. We got back in front, and then we lost a man overboard, and so we've had a bit of everything this leg, but I think it's a true, I'm really proud of the team. It's a true indication of the sort of character of the people we got on Scallywag, and I think never give up is certainly a phrase that gets used a lot in sport, but I think this team typifies what the true meaning of that phrase is. Basically, I think it's all just started to gel a bit with the way we mowed the boat. As you know, we came in really late. We did a lot of training, and we trained on all the wrong things. We learnt the VMG with an A3 sail that we don't use anymore, so that was a complete waste of time. So it's taken us a while to learn how to mow the boat properly, and and bringing blokes like Warro in for the leg, and I've convinced him to stay for the rest of the race, which we're all very happy about. It gives a good perspective from outside the class, and helps us sort of catch up those, the miles that we haven't done compared to the other teams. I mean, I got interviewed in Melbourne, and I got told that, we might be a bit disappointed with our results so far, and I did point out to the interviewer that we were leading the fleet of the boats that have never done the race before in these boats. And it looks like we might even get another one up the leaderboard after this leg. So we're pretty happy with the way we're going. It's still a long way to go, Niles.
No, of course, and I don't want to jinx it for you. You've had a little bit of time since the man overboard as the dust has settled. What's your reflections on it looking back?
We're lucky enough that we've been sailing candy-killed fast boats for a long time, and within our own group we've come up with our own way of dealing with it. And unfortunately we had to put it into practice, but everything we practiced and talked about for the last sailing these sort of boats worked really well. You know, we're just also very lucky it was daylight. It could have gone real bad real quick if it wasn't daylight.
I know you don't want me to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it either, but what would a win for this leg mean for Hong Kong and yourselves?
I think for Hong Kong, it'll put Hong Kong sailing on the map. For our team owner, SH, it justifies all his support and rock solid, you know, everything he's done for the team and for me in a very short period of time. I mean, we've had pretty ups and downs already in the race, and he could have walked away, and he's been rock solid. So it's, I'm really happy for him if we can pull it off. And for me personally, I'd give up every World Championship I've won to be able to pull this off. It'll be the highlight of my sailing career.
Oh, David, thank you so much. We see a lot of activity going on deck. I'll let you guys get back to it. Good luck. Keep pushing hard.
Righto. It will be a good drink. Don't forget to get on a plane if we pull it off.
So potentially a very big moment for David Witt and his crew on board Sun Hung Kai Scallywag. And when I caught up with the previous edition's winner, Ian Walker from Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, he was very confident about how David Witt and his crew should be feeling.
I guess Witty would be pretty chuffed with himself, and Libby especially. Great to see her doing well. I guess it reminded me a bit of 2007 and 8 when sailing with Green Dragon, when we all went into the doldrums in the Indian Ocean, and everybody said you had to stay east, and we fought like hell to get to the east. And then Telefonica Black had a broken daggerboard, couldn't get east, went through in the west, and just sailed straight past everybody out, came out a day ahead. So sort of bringing back some memories for me. But remember, we don't really know that part of the world that well. So, you know, credit to them for having the balls to separate from the fleet. But of course, they were in a fairly desperate position beforehand. So they really had nothing to lose. And the real advantage as well coming out of it, everybody was thinking it would pay to beat a Windward. But of course, they ended up almost running. And Scallywag had the much better angle and therefore managed to extend into well, best part of a 100-mile lead.
And I guess you've got to feel sorry for teams like Mafre, Brunel, Turn the Tide on Plastic, who were punching really well in that middle group. And what was it, one cloud? And now they're just sitting 60 miles behind. So
when you see three boats just get absolutely parked like that in a cloud, it makes you realise back here watching on your computer that it's not just a question of the grid files and the arrows and that's what the wind's going to do. You've got to deal with the clouds as they unfold in front of you. This for Sun Hung Kai Scallywag, this performance, it's going to be a great moment for Chinese sailing and Hong Kong sailing as well. Yeah, well, it's brilliant. It's brilliant for the morale of the team. They've really had a bit of a kicking up until this point. And don't forget, halfway into this leg, they'd had the incident with the coral reef where they sailed an extra 50 miles or so. So, you know, brilliant for them. You know, they've got a good spirit on board. And I think to be fair, everybody likes to see teams do well coming into their home port. I remember what it felt like on Green Dragon coming in to Galway. And let's hope that can really invigorate the support in Hong Kong and in China. And of course, Dongfeng, if they can get past Vestas and come in second, which I wouldn't rule out between now and the finish, then potentially it could be a Hong Kong-China 1-2 coming into Hong Kong and China. So that really would be a dream scenario for the race and for those teams. And I think deep down, everybody would be pleased for them. So a potential first for Sun Hung Kai Scallywag and maybe a second for Dongfeng Racing. That's a big question. China and Hong Kong being very, very closely watched on this leg. We've got Will Harris, race expert, to answer the key question. Can Sun Hung Kai Scallywag do it? Is there anything that's going to upset the lead at this point in the leg?
So yeah, it'd be quite an amazing thing for Sun Hung Kai to take the first place into their home port. Let's see if there's anything that can really trip them up in this. So if we have a look at the weather, the current positions of the fleet, we can see that they're currently sailing in 15 to 20 knots of trade wind sailing, so wind from the northeast direction, and they're really flying along towards Hong Kong at the moment. Now, as we move forward, we can see the high pressure which is giving them this really nice wind actually moves away over to the east, and there's this really large area of very light winds which develops just to the north of the fleet. So what's going to be very important is that Sung Hoon Kai make sure they stay to the south of this and don't get caught in this, which would mean the rest of the fleet could actually catch up with them. Now, as we approach Hong Kong, we enter the Zuron Strait, which is between the Philippines and Taiwan. And basically what happens is you get the breeze accelerating around these two islands. So you've got an acceleration of the breeze through here, and then also through here. So it's going to be very important that Sung Hoon Kai play this properly and make sure they use it to their full advantage and sail as fast as possible. Now, playing forward, or having a look at the currents as well, we can see there's large areas of strong currents which they need to avoid, predominantly in the north, and making sure that they sail on the right side of this will be crucial coming to the finish.
Okay, so we're seeing one or two problems, but let's have your honest opinion here. A few obstacles, but are they major obstacles in Sung Hoon Kai's ambitions?
I mean, with 70 miles lead at the moment, Niall, it's looking like it's going to be a really tough thing for someone to actually take this from them. But who's to say what can happen? 2,000 miles to sail still, it's a long way.
Well, there was certainly a very big smile on the face of David Witt earlier, but just stay with me here because I want to take a look at the scores. So the current scores at the moment have the Spanish team Mafre being really dominant on 29 points. The Dongfeng race teams and Vestas 11th Hour Racing's 23. So it's looking incredibly good for Xabi Fernandez. But let's have a little bit of fun. Let's put in the positions that the fleet are in at the moment. And this is what happens. These are just predicted scores. If leg 4 continues the way it goes, Sung Hoon Kai Scallywag take the win and everybody else finishes in their current positions, well, Mafre's lead at the top, Will, it's not looking quite so good.
Yeah, so as you can see, Mafre's lead has almost halved since the end of leg 3. But not only that, we can also see Vestas will also get that slight jump on Dongfeng race team that they really needed to get that 1 point and clear the equal score they were on. And below that, you've got Team Sung Hoon Kai, who are getting closer and closer to that top 3 and putting themselves on the podium, only in 4th place now.
So one leg looks like it's going to put Dongfeng race team and Vestas 11th Hours Racing's hopes back alive. And the question is, did Mafre give them that little opportunity? That was the question that I asked Ian Walker. This was his thoughts.
I think that was my surprise, really, with Mafre, that they didn't keep closer tabs on Dongfeng in the doldrums going in. They did get really quite separated. And then, of course, Dongfeng, they had a game plan which was to stay to the east. They stuck at it. It seemed like Mapfre changed their minds, although it's very easy to say that looking at the computer screen. Of course, clouds can change your mind for you. Sometimes you have no choice. Although we have also seen teams like Vestas clearly having sort of some wind speeds and angles where they've been very competitive as well. So I think the teams at the back are catching up. The speed deficit is narrowing. I think when we see tactics coming into play, like the doldrums, then as we saw in the last race, don't forget in the last race, every single team won a leg. And with one design boats, you'd like to think that everybody's got that capability. And, even in this leg, Turn the Tide were in a great position, as you say, until that cloud. So I think the more open the tactics, the more open the legs. And I think we'll see that certainly in the next leg as they head back through that area. The gaps are narrowing, and as the teams who did less training before the start are learning all the time, particularly about the downwind sails. And it's been really interesting with the change in the route. The race has been pretty much all downwind so far. I don't think we've really seen the boats go upwind at all. Whereas at this stage of the race, last time round, of course, we spent a lot of time going upwind. Up into the Indian Ocean and all the way up against the northeast trade winds. So there's been a lot of downwind sailing, and as we go on to the next leg, of course, they've got to come back where they've just come from, and there'll be a lot of upwind fetching and then on the wind all the way back to the equator before they go downwind in the Southern Ocean. So maybe there'll be a slightly different form guide. Upwind, certainly upwind, you normally see much smaller differences than you see downwind. The differences are measured in tenths of knots rather than knots upwind. So perhaps it'll take next leg, we'll see a little bit of difference. But it'll be exciting to see.
Okay, well, let's turn our attention to the other big drama that we've seen over the last couple of days, the man overboard on Sung Hoon Kai Scallywag. I'm taking it that you've seen the video. What's your sort of take on what we've seen of it? Particularly
when you're trade wind sailing, you get used to sailing around in a shorts and t-shirt, and yet it can be blowing 20, 25 knots downwind. And so I'm absolutely not surprised at all that it's happened. People are generally not wearing life jackets and tethers in conditions which, for sure, if they were sailing say, in April in the English Channel, you almost certainly would. So, the temperature of the air and the sea gives you a sort of false sense of security. Well, I say a false sense of security. In many ways, it is a slight security, because should you fall in, of course, as long as you're conscious and you can swim, then it does help you. So, I think the video was good. It was very honest. The sailor who fell in was quick to recognise his mistake. The skipper, Whitty, didn't protect him from the fact that he clearly had made a couple of mistakes. First of all, going out on an outrigger without any safety gear, and secondly, not telling the helmsman, which is really unforgivable. The watch leader certainly with Tooney as watch leader, he would have chewed your head off pretty fast if anybody had done something like that without telling him what was going on. But I guess it was daylight, it was warm, and maybe just a little bit of exuberance. And thankfully, the conditions were kind enough, and thankfully the team obviously did a very good job to get back to them and pick them up. And 7 minutes is pretty quick. I can tell you, we've done man overboard drills before where we have thrown a buoy in the water. That is an inflatable buoy, not a young buoy, and we've taken half an hour to get back, and who knows how long he'd be able to tread water for. So great work by the team to recover, and a little bit of a warning for everybody.
Ian Walker on those incredibly dramatic moments that we saw a couple of days ago. But now let's get to something far more important, the competition that we were running. We have some fantastic gear from Musto, all branded with Vestas 11th Hour Racing. And the question that we asked you was, when was Vestas 11th Hour Racing going to reach that 2,000 nautical miles to the finish? At what day and at what time? Well, I can tell you that officially from the race experts, the time was 1:48 a.m. and the day was Monday, the 15th of January. Congratulations to you if you got close. I can tell you that the person who got the closest was Kirsten Ziller. Congratulations to you. We had some people within 20 minutes. We had some people within 10. Kirsten Ziller got within 1 minute. So a very well done and a very rich congratulations to you. We will be back tomorrow for another quick fix in the morning. And then, as always, 1300 UTC, we've got our daily show. Join us then. We'll see you tomorrow.